Welcome. We're here for Helicon West tonight. Welcome to Helicon West. Coming to you live from downtown Logan. I'm excited to be here tonight. I'm John Engler. I'm a faculty member here at Utah State teaching the English department and have the absolute fortune and honor of being the faculty advisor for the Bullpen Creative Writing Club on campus. And so this year, and so that's why Britt twisted my arm and said, "John, you need to MC tonight." So I'm glad to do this. So just a couple of announcements we need to make. Just for welcome to those also who are joining us via broadcast, Zoom. Welcome to those in person. Helicon is a live reading series that brings published local writers to read alongside community members in an open, uncensored forum in order to promote every voice of every community member and democratic ideals. We honor all levels of skill, ability, and craft. In addition to featuring published authors that give literary arts more exposure in Cache Valley, we invite and celebrate aspiring writers from every walk of life to find and share their voices with us. We're committed to the causes of inclusion, accessibility, and representation in our writing community. And a statement on the land here. Helicon West operates on the territory of the northwestern band of the Shoshone Nation, whose people have been living, working, and residing in this land from time immemorial. We acknowledge that these lands carry the stories of these nations and their struggles for survival and identity. We recognize elders past and present as peoples who have cared for and continue to care for the land. In offering this land acknowledgement, we affirm Indigenous self-governance, history, experiences, and resiliencies of the Native people who are still here today. We're glad we do that and honor our Indigenous people. We're here to also thank our sponsors. We have a number of sponsors that make this possible. The Bear River Heritage Area, the Logan Library, Sugar House Review, the Utah Humanities, of course, our founder and matron saint, Star Colebrook, and the Cache Valley Center for the Arts as our springtime home here at the Thatcher House. It's a beautiful old house. We don't have many of these left in the valley, so I'm glad they preserved and restored this home. After we have our reading tonight, there will be open mic portion. And if you would like to read during the open mic portion of our event, there's a sign-up sheet here. So just at any time, feel free to walk up and sign up. And for those on Zoom, you'll just raise a virtual hand, and then we'll kind of alternate Zoom and in-person readers. And we'll get down as far as the list permits. Each reader will have up to 7 minutes of time to read. And after 7 minutes, we'll be politely clapped off, of course. We used to run an event where the way we got them off was just like at the Oscars. We had a sound system, and so we would start up the music. That's how you get people to leave the stage, is you start the music going. Okay. The Helicon West events are recorded and posted to the Helicon West YouTube channel. If you do not wish to be recorded when you read, that's fine. Just make a note by your name on the sign-up sheet so we can turn off the camera and not record. We respect that. One final note, Helicon West is made possible by our generous sponsors and by the community here. To help stay in person until the new Logan Library is built 14 months and 2 weeks from today, right? Yeah. We'll be excited for that. To help us stay in person until then, not to mention to stay hydrated and caffeinated, there are several ways to make a donation. You can scan the QR code and donate via PayPal. Is that nearby?
It's on the bookmarks.
It's on the bookmarks,
table. Yep.
Which are on the table here. Or you can leave some, come on in, welcome. Or you can leave some sweet pocket change in the tip jar here. Please do help us continue to bring free events to the community. If something moves you, if the coffee revives you, if you got a great date out of tonight, or a reason to get away from your roommates, or whatever it may be, consider leaving the tip to keep a good thing going. All right, welcome. Good to have everybody here tonight. We are ready to go. Woo! We are ready to introduce on stage and live tonight, the USU Bullpen Slam team.
Woo!
I will introduce, we have five performers tonight, right? This is next level, because this isn't just reading, this is performing, right? When you get to slam poetry, we're talking about performing here, so we're excited for that. I'll introduce our first three performers. We'll have them perform, and then I'll introduce our final two. Our first three. First, Ethan Chadwick, who, by the way, is responsible for the Bullpen Slam Team t-shirt design featured by our Slam Team tonight. Her t-shirt design. Ethan is a poet and author from Kansas City, Kansas, and is studying management and creative writing at USU. He enjoys being with friends, playing D&D, and of course, good barbecue. For Kansas City, you have to love good barbecue. Our second performer will be Jacob Livingston. Jacob is 22 and has an acute fear of moss, elevators, also drowning. All relatively same danger level. When not doing homework or actively procrastinating, he enjoys going on long walks and keeping it real. And our third performer tonight is Michael Skillings, who is an aspiring writer. I would say a writer. We're all beyond aspiring now. We are writers. He is a writer from Orem, Utah, who studies electrical engineering. I was originally an engineering major also. I found the way to the light. He enjoys reading and video gaming. So let's give it up for Ethan, Jacob, and Michael.
Absolutely.
The way to lower it is named Nathan.
Cool. Yeah, the funny part about that introduction is you spend most of your time writing as an author, and then you actually end up being a published poet. So, pick your poison. All right. Dear Vicky, woke up today and wrote this for you. It was one of those rare mornings when the sun wakes you up instead of the alarm, where I could close my eyes to think, and memories of you didn't distract me like candy to a child. So I was wondering, do you remember how it was when we first met? Your memory is misty, like mountains in the morning, but do you remember the cafe with the LED lights brighter than our futures? The one with the little vases with the goldfish in them in the center of each table? When I first saw you, all I could think of is how beautiful snow is on the lawn while the neighborhood kids are putting their snow pants on, quiet, peaceful, untouched by the muddy boots of the world. Remember how we made eye contact, looked away, glanced back at each other at the same time? The blush that flooded our cheeks with the dreams of a pair of lonely college students. Do you remember how I fiddled with the strings of my favorite hoodie while I examined the goldfish on the table to avoid staring at you? Remember how I took another peek and found you pulling up a chair to my table? You were always the bold one in the relationship. I was stunned that such a beautiful person could be talking to me, but somehow I managed to ask for your name, awkwardly joking if angels even have names, and got your number with it. Sure, our first date was a little rocky, but we made it through to a second, and then a third, and then a fourth, and then we stopped counting. The lake with the crystal clear water, colder than the ice cream we had after, bowling at the dusty lanes behind the Mexican restaurant with the neon sign, the midnight conversations about our families, dreams, and horrible roommates, the scary movies that we always avoided watching through pillow fights. Recently, something's changed, so I have to ask something of you. Will you let me know if you found a song like I did, one that reminds me of you, one that I listen to on repeat for hours until my headphones carve the rhythm into my skull? You still wear the bracelet you made for us when we made things official? Your mind always wanders back to me like that boomerang we won at the arcade. Let me know if the thought of me still swells your chest like the tide, makes you smile like an inside joke. If the thought of seeing each other warms you like the matching hats your mom crocheted for us, even on the days when we can't see the sky through the flurries of snow. Remember how our friends always complained we were together? How time turned to honey so that we could steep in the sweetness. My favorite day of the year quickly became the summer solstice since I got a little more time to be with you. My favorite day was any with you. The warm, bright days when I would watch the sun shine through your hair while we picked freckled apples from the valley trees. Even in the days of winter, when snowflakes caught in your braids while we stood outside for hours, trying to catch them on our tongues, heads tilted back, fingers woven together. I just can't stop thinking about you. But you're on your phone. Let me know if it now feels like walking into the ocean whenever we embrace. How it feels like looking through a telescope when I try to find out how I used to feel. Do you remember how I felt leaving an encouraging comment on your Instagram? And how it is to see that comment drowned among the thirsty comments. A drop in the ocean, a star in the sky. Let me know if you know how it feels to wait at the bottom of the stairs like a bad habit, how it feels to walk to class alone, the wind blowing on your arm for the first time in months, how it feels to learn to hang out with your friends again after practically abandoning them for the chance to be in love, how it feels to get sympathy from people who whisper, I knew it was never coming to work, once your back is turned. Let me know if you realize that your Snapchat now captures your attention like you had mine. You remember the dinner we had at that Italian place with the $20 appetizers? That you promised you only wanted to take one picture of the penny? How you spent the entire night on your phone, thumbs whirling like Thor's hammer? How a guy who looked like Chris Hemsworth showed up after dinner so you could work on a project together? Your social media consumed you like a cancer, slowly replacing every part of you. You even blocked me on social media so you could pretend to be single. You kept retreating into your screen like you were embarrassed to be seen with me when you were the one who came to me at the beginning. So please, let me know if you still think back to our first date. Have you stole my favorite hoodie when I froze after you kissed me goodnight? Do you remember teasing me every day by wearing it around campus and when we would watch the sunset together? You captured me so entirely, yet let everything slip away. Like snow turning into ice when you squeeze it in the palm of your hand, I figured we had moved past the fluff and made something tangible. I thought we'd crystallized our relationship, or maybe it was our hearts instead. So, Vicky, let me know if you regret the time that you wasted now that it's over. Oh, and P.S. I want my hoodie back.
Invocation. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a firefighter because firefighters are sublime. To battle blazes as a team in uniform, to conquer and contain the forces of nature, to save lives. I wanted to be a hero. I had a calling. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a lawyer. I had seen them on television, selecting argumentative tactics, electrifying the room, holding the center of attention like a drill press vice, twisting and turning, clamping steel to steel into the opponent until the opposition is trapped tight. Firefighters are still cool, but I wanted to be a lawyer. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a teacher. I loved learning new things and wanted to see the other side. A half dozen teachers had crafted my mind into a vase, and I longed for a turn of my own at the wheel. Who cares about accolades? Who cares about riches? Lawyers are nice, but I wanted to be a teacher. When I was a kid, I wanted to be rich. I wanted fast cars and a castle. I remember on vacation in California, my mom said, imagine living there. So we passed some stunning structure on the beach. When I'm rich, I said, I'll buy it for you. You don't have to imagine. I imagined a world where I had anything that I wanted. I imagine a world where I know what that is. But the world spins and everything changes. The world spins and I am no exception. I shifted from life goals like driving stick and heavy stop and go. Each template brought clarity to confusion before eroding. When I was a kid, I had time to decode myself, time to tidy up my mind, put my egg baskets in a line. As I grew older, I wanted to be an explorer, to see a world unknown and take tentative steps into the darkness, entirely unaware of what I would find, intent on uncovering all, on pulling back the curtain. As I grew older, I wanted to be an architect, to design mausoleums of modernity, place stone that will one day become the arcane, to leave my blueprints on the world after I'm gone. As I grew older, I wanted to be a concert pianist, to become music itself and expose my soul to everyone willing to listen. But in a world of prodigy and painstaking practice, what can my mediocrity hope for? Still the world spins and I along with it. The future turns and I'm still uncertain of which way to swim. But I'm still young, future willing and past permitting. I can do anything I put my mind to, push blindly towards an anywhere, fitting square pegs into circular holes. When I was 18 and graduation was nigh, I had a choice to make, namely, what now? What do I do? What can I do? Indecisiveness wouldn't serve. I needed action. I needed to develop vocation, to evolve a sense of self and just move on with my life. So I manufactured a purpose, picked from pieces of my heart, unused parts scoured from the scrapyard of my past. Oh, so delicately, I designed my future years as an engineer. And why not? I wanted to be a creator. I wanted to break down the world into components and fit them into machines. I wanted to open my skull and fish around my brain for something useful, to find that there is beauty in practicality. I did it because I wanted to fabricate order from all of this. I don't know regret because I can't allow myself to. I can't allow myself to because I don't know if this is what I really want. I'm still young, although the sky only gets closer. I want to build a rocket and see how far it goes. I want to gaze down on the little speck of my home and finally see how small my problems really are. How will I know when I have found my purpose in life? I wanted to be a hero in an age of information, a lawyer in an unjust world, a teacher when I have so much left to learn, a cartographer in an age of satellites, an artist with my talentless hands, a musician without the drive. Every plan I had tore itself apart, crumbled to ash and charcoal, darkening my hopes. Maybe things are different now. I tell myself that it'll work out this time because what else can I do? The first time I wrote something that made me proud of myself, I wanted to be a writer. And I still want to be a writer, but I'm afraid of regret. I'm so afraid that nobody would even hear me, that at the end of the chapter, the hero is alone and another door closes. No, I'm still young, but I found that there is truth in beauty, and there is beauty in practicality. So I'm choosing to be realistic. I've realized the reckless risk I would be taking by shelving my life for a dream. I've written enough stories to know that they don't always have happy endings. Yet I can't ignore that there are stories that need to be told, and I'm not going to be there to tell them. Thank you.
My dumb poem. Every now and again, I see online a version of the same old joke, a picture of some ridiculous face staring at the sky, superimposed with the words, kids, when they hear a plane go by. And every now and again, I'm sent a version of this same old joke with a message, either implicit or explicit, this is you. And whether or not it's in good humor, it's hard to deny it's true. Because whenever I'm outside, whether on the way to class or in the Walmart parking lot, and I hear a plane, be it the tinny buzz of a propeller or the throaty roar of a jet, I stop and I search until I spot it, the tiny speck crawling across the blue like an ant on a milky inverted fishbowl. But it's not an ant. It's a machine of aluminum and steel weighing anywhere between 100 and 1,000,000 pounds. And it doesn't stick to glass with tiny adhesive hooks, but stays up on nothing but the air, blasting across specially shaped slabs of metal at 1 to 600 miles per hour. And a speed achieved by doing nothing but shoving really hard on the air behind it. And when you think of it like this, isn't it such a shame not to stare? And to think that this giant metal bird, regular defier of the laws of sense, is built from ordinary aluminum and steel, like can be found in anyone's kitchen, so carefully hammered and cast by a master of the craft into the perfect shape to scoop the wind and skate along the sky. It's not a gift from God bestowed upon men in exchange for a pyre of metal, but it is the metal. The metal is doing the flying. Stupid, boring metal, like what's dug up from the ground. Ordinary dumb matter doing something unbelievable. And when I see it way up against the blue, it makes me think what else that dumb stuff can do. Dumb ink on paper, creating vast worlds and people to live in them, where heroes fight villains and everything turns out all right, and sometimes not. And dumb silicon and copper, carefully shaped into transistors and traces, which by the trillion connect to our fingertips the entire world's wealth of knowledge. Connect us with our friends and family 1,000 miles away, or just as easily steal away our time with the idlest or basest of amusements. And it makes me think, in a world that allows all of this, what someday might I be? In a world where dirty bauxite rock can become a giant bird and a pile of sand can become a calculating engine, who knows what a random kid from the suburbs of nowhere, Utah, a lump of all these thoughts and feelings, none of them unique and none of them particularly interesting, could be smelted and forged and machined into what someday might I become, and what cool stuff might I someday be able to do? What gap might I be able to fly, and what people might I be able to move? Who's to say? Except that it'll be something cool. So yes, unoriginal anonymous Instagram page. And yes, my friends who call me out, well-meaning or not, I do look at planes. I look at them to remind myself what's possible, something I'm always happy for a reminder of, and something I'm so sorry you have forgotten.
Are you kidding me? This is amazing. This is amazing. I took my daughter the other night to the Billie Eilish concert. My 14-year-old daughter. I took her to see Billie Eilish the other night. Giant room-sized speakers, flashing lights and lasers, and it wasn't as good as this. Really, this is awesome. What, did you feel it?
Yeah.
Did you feel it? These awesome young writers are here today, man, laying it out. Thank you so much. And I'm glad it's happening in this house. This house, I actually lived in this house for 6 months before it was redone. It used to be a bunch of apartments. And I needed a place for 6 months while I just got laid off from a job in Provo, got a job up here. My wife was still doing student teaching in Provo. So I had to be up here for work during the week. She was still down there with our 1-year-old. And so I found a grad student who had an apartment up here, and he's like, yeah, man, come bunk with me. And so he moved into the living room. He gave me the bedroom, and we just kind of shared this little spot up in that corner of the house. And that bedroom up there, that far corner bedroom, was where I slept. And at night, I would open the window just to hear the sounds from the theater kind of float through the air and come into the room. And it was kind of a magic place. And that's what this feels like to me tonight. It feels just like that. All right, we have our final 2 performers from the Bullpen Slam team. Jay Payne is an aspiring poet. A poet. Jay Payne is a poet based in Logan, Utah. And because he loves writing poems, he figured he'd give this slam thing a try. When he's not writing, you can find him exploring Logan Canyon, where he enjoys his favorite nocturnal activities of night hiking and stargazing. You can find some of Jay's poetry in the Roadrunner Review. a published poet, no less. And our final reader tonight will be Amrutha. Amrutha is a junior from Chandler, Arizona, the Great South. And she hopes to teach. Arizona's rocking. She hopes to teach high school English and psychology. No lack of ambition there. In her free time, she competes for the USU speech and debate team. Did they just win something?
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Tell us what you won.
we qualified for nationals.
Yeah.
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 Nice.
Well done. Headlines about the speech and debate team. In true fashion of a humanities major, Amrutha loves to talk about feelings. So here are some of hers for you. But first, Jay.
Already. Turn off the lights. When you gaze up at the night sky, do you see stories? Because I once saw stories, the glory of many classical myths, and with each seasonal shift, the sky would pick a different tale to tell. In winter, you might have seen Zeus disguised as a bull. In spring, the big bear and her cub. And in autumn, you could have attended a showing of Perseus rescuing Andromeda, my favorite. But this showing took the form of neither a film nor a play, but of a retelling in the sky's own unique way. I remember how Cassiopeia and Cepheus would loom in the background, waiting to see if their sacrifice would right their pompous claims. Their claims that Andromeda stood more beautiful than any nymph. Then the sky would shift towards humble Andromeda, stooping over a rock, sea foaming all around, chains dangling from her wrists. Fated by her parents' words and actions, Andromeda would await Cetus, the monster sent to swallow her whole. And while she waited, I would wonder if she was hoping to be devoured without pain. I would wonder if she was hoping for a Perseus, a hero to smash her chains. But I must end here. The sky's rendition is not my poem. My spoken word art cannot capture how each star fastens itself to the firmament like a silvery screw. You must see it for yourself, but you don't have to take my word. For over a millennium, the sky's version has been enjoyed by stargazers and dream chasers and anyone wishing to savor this cherished story. But I often forget that this story has faded into nothingness. I have not seen it in over a decade, but I still find myself looking up, hoping to see Andromeda about to be rescued by Perseus, that hero, but 0 stars speckle the sky. When I look up, I instead find myself bound by the actions of every person who has installed an acorn-shaped street lamp or erected some high and bright building or established a glowing sports arena. The light from all these ravages more and more of the stars each night, and I feel helpless, like I am chained to this big dusty rock, unable to see the sky, unable to sway the fate of humanity. And as the light from a nearby street lamp swallows me, I wonder, who would have thought it easier to erase these steady stars than to burn the manuscripts of ancient authors? But I cannot answer this question. I can only pray that someone will turn off the lights and let these stories return, let these stories shine bright.
The sign-up sheet is still here waiting for your sign-up on it.
Do it.
Do it.
That was great timing. Thank you. Ready or not, here I come. When I was 8, I remember playing hide and seek at a friend's birthday party. My grubby hands followed the pattern of the wall past the latex balloons and thin dollar store streamers. The sweet smell of icing and pear perfume disappears as I crawl into the back of someone's closet. My sister's hushed whispers telling me to be quiet, swearing she'll kill me if I'm the reason we're found. But I want to tell her we're going to be found. We're always going to be found. Now that you see me play, I want to play a game with you. I want to play hide and seek. So I'll close my eyes and I'll count to 3. 1, 2, 3. Why didn't you hide? I'll do it again. I want to play hide and seek. I'll count to 3. 1, 2, 3. You still didn't hide. Why didn't you hide? You pretend you know the game even though we've been hiding for years. It seems like we learn how to hide before we learn the whole alphabet. Outside, we lay on the grass with bags of chips around us. We talk about our social studies class and close our eyes as the sun grazes over. We hear crackling and static over the announcements and watch as the other students begin to panic. Eyes glisten and shine as water forms a film over growing pupils. We rush inside, tripping over one another, desperately trying to stay together as the mobs dissipate between us, running this way and that. We hold hands and snake into a thin sliver of an open door just about to lock. When we reach the classroom, we huddle together with strangers, simply bonded through trauma, a trauma we haven't even lived through yet. We crouch and watch as our denim stretches over our bent knees and zip up our jackets thinking another layer of cotton will protect us. I nod at some kid next to me, trying to act cool, like nothing really bothers me. And he nods back, pretending to do the same. Some pull out their phones, text boxes growing into giant conversations. Others close their eyes as if falling asleep. Soon enough, we all have our eyes wide open because the slow dragging of boots echoes through the corridors. Drag, 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 and then the careful shaking of the doorknob. The door locks and catches as the person on the other side throws themselves at the door, willing it to open. In my mind, I see a man thrashing through the door wearing just a hoodie and jeans. He looks like everybody else. He looks just like me. He stares at us with a grim smile. I see him sulk over to where I am and eye the gun and feel the cold metal sliding along my face. I force my eyes to shut tighter and imagine his slender fingers snaking through the loop of the trigger. Boom, I whisper. When my eyes open, static breaks over the silence on the microphone. And the teacher of the classroom, no one I recognize, instructs us to stand up and find our own classroom. So I guess that's it then. They tell us to hide and put our backs against the bookshelf, as if they don't know that we're all sitting there counting the seconds until bullets pierce through the drywall, ripping us in half. The teacher takes down the stupid black paper from the windows as if they wouldn't know we're hiding inside because apparently if they can't see you, you don't exist. Doesn't make sense. Admin walks around, checks the locked doors and informs us that it's over. We ponder and watch and reflect because we want to ask, what's over? No more shootings. No more hiding, no more shaking under our desks with the lights off, no more police cars escorting us out to the bus stop, no more rush texts to mom asking for forgiveness because we think we won't get to apologize in person, no more breathless prayers in the dark, no more pretending it's going to be all right, no more keeping peanut butter in the cupboard just in case we have to be in a lockdown for more than 6 hours, no more stupid black paper. They say they caught one person, so they guess it's over. But there's always going to be another. And next time they won't count to 3. They won't wait until we're ready. They'll shoot us and we'll be gone. But that's okay, because if they can't see us, they won't shoot us. After all, we rub our eyes when the lights turn on, sit at our desks ready to learn how to balance chemical equations. Teachers go over the homework that we didn't even know we'd be here to finish. They put away the peanut butter and tell us it's an isolated incident. They shove those words down our gullet and apologize because they're sorry. The shooter was just having a bad day. Newsflash, bad days don't justify being shot up. They make us go home on the bus like it's just another day, which I guess it is, just another day. Tomorrow we'll have our chemistry test and raise our hands to answer questions about modifying adverbs and adjectives. We'll wait and wait until it's our turn to play again, hiding and hoping that we never get found.
Thank you so much. Wow. Wow. You guys are just bringing the whole game tonight. That was powerful. Thank you for the slam team from the bullpen, USC bullpen. Okay, I see we have 3 readers so far. Hopefully there'll be more of you shortly. First off, Ron. And then following Ron, Britt will read, and following Britt, Kayla. Is this, oh, no YouTube for Kayla. Okay. First, Ron.
Hi, Ron.
We went 7 days in a week. We go swimming and 7 peaks. The tallest 7 and the swimming to me. They're all part of my family. The 7 is special in so many ways, including my being married and 7 here today. The guy can make it for 7 years, being married to my dear. We moved to Killeen 6 years ago. We just started dating. The man side was no longer waiting. It was a Valentine's Day, but not like no other. Being with the gay lady was the least of my mother. My other Valentine's, the burn I did, burn like that, being made to you is the right side. Now another Valentine's Day is here to celebrate with my dear.
Thank you, and thank you all for being here tonight. Your t-shirts are super duper cool. They're really cool, almost like not quite as good as all of your readings were. Like I was on John's page. Every time when he read, I was like, like in a really good way. Onomatopoeias can be confusing without emojis to help them out, but okay. I'm starting a timer on my watch too, to keep myself from going over the 7 minutes because I will follow my own rules. I am continuing reading from a story that I started reading from a couple of Helicons ago. All you need to know is that it doesn't really make sense. The science behind it is very, very fluffy. And it's just a story that I wrote last November, and I had so much fun writing it that I want to share it now. So I've been sharing it. It's a story about a little girl named Story, and basically her birthday was on the winter solstice, and she was so happy riding this pink bike and her parents were so unhappy being themselves. Anyway, and so it like opened this cosmic rift, and her family disappeared, and 23 like shadow things came through the cosmic rift. I don't know either. Okay. I'm also going to back up a little bit just for coherency's sake. Now you, sitting comfortably at home decades from 1999 with magical glass and search engines at your fingertips, could probably discover for yourself with a few cute keywords what happens when 23 beings pop through the cosmos to land in a little girl's living room. Story, however, being 5 years old and under the guardianship of parents who wouldn't purchase internet service for many years, had never heard the laws of physics or had the significance of celestial bodies properly or improperly explained to her. She couldn't have known that when one thing comes into existence on Earth, another must go out, in this case back through the cosmic rip created between her joy and her parents' despair in her house that day. Super solid science. In fact, and although it seemed like unfair timing, the fact that it was her birthday weighed heavily in her favor. Instead of the usual equivalent exchange rate of 1 for 1, The universe let 23 beings tear through the tear and only charged Earth 4 beings, Story's mother, father, and 2 little sisters. For those mathematically inclined, I'd like to point out that children, especially nonverbal ones, are worth much more than adults on a universal scale and are taxed completely differently. Having no direct English translation for the values involved, you'll have to take my word that these 4 human beings added up to 23 light beings, especially when you take the birthday discount into consideration. So now you know that Story won't find her family hiding in some corner of the house, or even in the backyard or the detached garage across the yard, even though by that time Story was so fearful she had run out to check barefoot, and the snow and ice hurt the pink pads of her feet terribly. Seeing the family car in the garage was the most disheartening blow of all and the most confusing. Sniffling constantly, Story hopped painfully back inside and sat down on the kitchen floor with her back against the cupboards below the sink. From there, she could look left through the living room to the front door, right through the playroom toward the back door and the stairs down to the basement, and straight ahead toward the bathroom and her parents' room on the other side of the kitchen. When her family came back, she would see them no matter which way they came. Yanking open a kitchen drawer beside her, Story pulled one thin dishcloth out to wrap around her feet, too scared now that she knew she was home alone to go downstairs for her socks, and another dish rag to swaddle her stuffed dog with, holding him tight to her chest, but also making sure his black button eyes were facing outward so he could watch with her and protect her, if Story was being honest. The 23 beings that came through were still tightly pinned to their dark hiding places. Indeed, some of them holding their breath and sucking in as the sun rose for its brief high of the day outside. But they were very interested in Story. Once the shadows grew longer and they became free, what sorts of pranks and joys would they wreak? And what could a little human like her, who they knew was very valuable on a universal pay scale, though verbal, she had a stronger imagination than a couple hundred adults, who was worth so much and who contained such potential, be looking for so very hard? I'm looking for where that sentence started. Anyway, when the adrenaline withdrew from her bones, Story began to feel powerfully sleepy. Keeping her back against the cupboard, she curled up on the floor, her feet and eyes toward the front door, till her toes still clammy and wrapped in a dish rag. Story propped the swaddled stuffed dog up in her stomach, pointing his eyes up over her head so he could watch the back door, then kept her eyes open as long as possible before shivering into sleep. The universe wasn't kind enough that day to guide Story in her sleep, having just an hour before given her such a generous birthday discount. But she did wake up from that nap on the kitchen floor with the cold certainty that her family was gone and hadn't left her by choice. Though Story was a brunt of a child, she hadn't yet started school and didn't know that it was at all possible to hate her. Of course, even if she had known that not everyone in life would love her, this wasn't the case for her family. They'd been cosmically kidnapped. It was early afternoon, just past her lunchtime, and Story's stomach reminded her of that with a gurgle. She pushed herself up off the floor, giving her stuffed pet a grateful scratch behind his stitched down ears for keeping watch, and decided that she had to do something. Even though it was her birthday, and she would have much rather been doted upon than play detective, Story loved her family and decided that she must be old enough now to take up this duty. It's easy to be brave when you wake up in the 1 p.m. sunlight at 5 years old. And I think I'm out of time for today. Thank you.
There can't be anywhere else in Logan tonight where there is more humanity like present, right? This is so wonderful, you guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I saw one more person sneak up. Maya Bethers is ready to read next. Anyone else? Any other takers? Any other takers? Your name?
Allie.
Allie will follow Maya. And we'll go that far. Maya.
All right, this one is called Consent. Sticky pit of blackened toast, burnt centipedes, whining genitals, gritty goo. You flipped me upside down, salivating at my immobile figure. You wring out my intestines, suffocated me with your thick, hot tar, and tugged my blood-drenched tongue down your throat. Did I ever once yell or scream or say stop in the place of comfort or love? No. My dear skeleton lover, loyalty has its place among my soul, but I never expected to find God's ocean in you. Thanks everybody for sharing. I really appreciate all of your poems. Writing means a lot to me. And thank you, Jacob, for inviting us. I didn't know this was an open mic thing, but luckily I have an untitled poem here on my phone. So hopefully I can share it well enough that you get the gist. The person that I am is finally catching up with the person that I've been trying to be. It has been behind for so long, dragging one leg in a scaffolded limp gallop, while I race ahead as the person I wanted myself to be, a mask and a hollowed body, but accepted as who I am. She is strong, a little too strong perhaps. She is funny, she is aloof, cultured. She is forward, a go-getter, accomplished. She is refined. This person that I am, that I actually am, the one catching up with Ms. Accomplished, she is different. She is weak, soft, can be pushed over by the wind. She is blunt and yet sensitive, contradictory. She has so many questions and is unsatisfied with every answer. She is messy, a procrastinator. She is off kilter and out of tune. She is no leader or example. And so who do I settle for? Do I outrun the mess and stay a shell? Shall I soften and let go, thus giving up the me I should have been? Not should, you whisper. I am the author. I wrote the line. I meant what I said. Your arms tighten around my shoulders, my face pressed to your chest. You turn me toward the limping form. You're not giving up a single thing. You say it so surely, I believe you. You are receiving so much more than you had. Thank you.
Wonderful. Any final readers tonight? Thank you. It has just been a delight to be here tonight. Thank you again to our slam team from the USU bullpen.
Thank you, Britt, for inviting us.
Thank you, Britt, for inviting the bullpen and the slam team. It was just a treat to be here to see great, fresh, young voices ready to take on the world. Wow, it's encouraging, especially in a time such as this. Okay. We need to announce the next Helicon West, which will happen on April 14th, 3 weeks from today, right? 7 p.m., April 14th. Featured will be the writing group Union of Table Scraps, a poetry group which features the following writers. Many of you who know these writers, and you know, so it will be a fantastic night. Aaron Tim, Isaac Tim, Brock to Cheer, Shannon Dallin will be reading.
Yeah.
Awesome. Also Asher Blakely, Teresa Dyer, Millie Tullis, and Brent. So we are excited for the next Helicon West in 3 weeks. That will take place, not here, but mark this down and you will probably be contacted.
Yes,
via
it will be on our Facebook and our email list, the address.
the River Park Senior Housing Clubhouse, which is 784 Riverwalk Parkway in Logan. Britt, tell us, can you point us in that direction at least? I mean, I'm guessing.
Yep.
This way.
It's, which way is that way? Yeah.
South along the river
Yeah,
somewhere.
southwest, it's like right across, you know how there's a river walk, right? And there's 2 entrances, there's one with the dog park and the other one, and it's near the other one. 784 Riverwalk Parkway, it's an apartment complex, and you know, those have the clubhouses up in front. And again, I will share the address point blank on all our flyers and emails and social media, so you can plug it right into your GPS. But yep, kind of behind the Wendy's. Like if you turned right at the Wendy's on your way south out of town.
The old Boy Scout office.
Yep. The old Boy Scout office. It's just past there. It'll be on your right.
Excellent. April 14th, 7 p.m. Be there for a great reading from a great group of writers. Thank you again for being here tonight. It's been an absolute delightful pleasure.